Hey there crew, it's Mark, and in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing 25 of my most favorite stationery items with you for you to try in the new year. It's everything from cool gadgets all the way up to fine writing tools to really elevate your stationery love, whether it be in a planner, a journal, or just because you love stationery. No particular order, first is the Pilot Multiball roller pen. This is a beautiful pen. It writes wonderfully on paper, feels just like a regular gel pen. I love how the flow is. The ink is nice and dark, and I love that about it. But the coolest part about this pen is that you can also write on plastic, metal, glass, cloth, and even more. So when you're writing on a smooth surface, you can actually fix those mistakes within 6 hours. You can just wipe it away, but after 6 hours, it becomes permanent. So it's this perfect mix of a pen that can write on multiple different things. That's why it's called the Multiball. So absolutely love this pen. I think everyone should have one, whether you're using it in your planner or just to have one around the house. These next items are some of my favorite things to have. These are the Kodomo No Kao, the Pochitto picks. These are detachable push button stamps. These are the coolest damn stamps ever, and they're so fun to use because all you do is press down on them and they go ahead and just put your stamp right onto your paper. They come in so many different styles that it's just way fun to use. And these pick ones are cool because you can use them just like the other ones. They're all connected inside of this holder. Or if you want, and the coolest reason that I have so many different options is you can actually take them off and then use them individually if you want to. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to use the ones that are all connected to get the placement just right. It can be a little bit off, but when you can take them off and use them, it makes it even better. The next item on my list are the Arch and Olive desk pads. Love these because they're super versatile. It's like having an Arch and Olive notebook, except it's all bound and just open. I use these all the time, especially when I'm trying out different ideas for my bullet journal before I put it in there. And Arch and Olive has so many different colors and so many different sizes. It's the coolest and I love them so much. So if I'm thinking up things like header ideas, or if I want to swatch a bunch of colors on there, I can go ahead and just write on that paper and then just pull it off and detach it and keep them wherever I want to. Our next favorite stationery item are the Sarasa MarkON pens. These are wonderful gel pens. Again, love the flow and how they write. But something that happens with gel pens, and the reason that the MarkON is so great, is that when you're writing with a regular gel pen and you use something like a mild liner over top of it, the ink usually smears. And that's always a major downfall. And you especially notice it with the brighter colors, the yellows and the greens. And when you see that black or colored ink smear, it just hurts so much. So the Sarasa MarkONs are great because they don't do that. They dry very quickly and actually partner perfectly with your mild liner pens. Keeping with the zebra love, one of my next favorite items are the Zebra Clickart retractable markers. Love these pens for so many different reasons. One, they don't dry out. When you're not using them, they retract back inside of the pen. When you do want to use them, you just click the top and they open up. And I think it is absolutely fantastic. And one of my favorite things to do with these markers, and why I use them often, is with stamps, because you can actually color in stamps with these. One, it has a nicer fine point than some of those thicker markers, but it doesn't smear the ink when you're using it if the ink isn't super wet anyway. It depends on the ink when you do this, to be honest, but for most stamps, almost every single stamp set I've ever used, it has worked wonderfully. You can fill in small details if you want to, or go larger, and you can also use these pens for things like lettering, or honestly, just writing inside of your notebook. You don't have to color anything in if you don't want to. You like a color, you take it out, you use it in your journal, and there's not going to be any problem. There's also so many different colors and color combinations, you can really go wild. The next item on my list is from Arch and Olive, and this is the Arch and Olive page rulers. They have come in so many different sizes, and we've seen them iterate over time, from the less flexible ones that have some cracks in them from an original subscription box, but over the years they've been improving these more and more and more. My favorite part about these is using them inside of my notebook to easily find how many spaces are on a page. And that way you just lay it right on your page. You can draw straight lines with this. It becomes super functional, but you can easily find the center of your page if you want to find it or break it down into thirds. It really is just perfect. They just recently came out with a B5 size, which is fantastic to have it for our big notebook loving people, but it also really works well if you're using it inside of a square notebook as I have. You can't find the center as quickly with it, but you can still get all of your boxes in and counted. If you've watched any of my Plan With Me's or seen any of my reels over on Instagram, you know that I love my Xyron sticker maker. This is a small compact version. They come in a lot of different sizes, but all you have to do with this sticker maker is put an item into the slot and then you pull on the bottom part. There's sticker maker paper down below. So as you put the item down inside of the slot, you pull on the paper on the bottom side and it adds the sticky back to whatever you put inside of here. I love using this for different types of ephemera and stuff like that. If you're not a big fan of using any type of double-sided tape or a glue stick or something like that, this thing just works perfectly. My next favorite stationery item is a new one to me this year that I've completely fallen in love with, and these are the Tom Studio Lumos pens. This one specifically is the Duo. It has two ends to it, but they can also just come with a singular end if you want. And my favorite part about these pens is that they use fountain pen ink instead of regular ink. So you can refill these as many times as you want, and you can fill them with whatever type of ink that you want to use them with. They come with a ton of different types of nibs, so you can write with anything like this that looks like a fine liner, and then you can switch it over to a brush nib if you want to add a different weight and a different color. It also newly comes in a stainless steel color as well, which is absolutely beautiful and adds a nice sophisticated look to an already amazing pen. The next stationery item to consider is going to be the Midori Paintable stamp. This is a pre-inked calendar stamp from Midori that you can use inside of your bullet journal and planners. I love this one so much because, first of all, it's so easy to use. You do not need an extra stamp pad or an acrylic block or anything. You just take off the back, you put it onto your paper, you press down, and you instantly have a calendar that looks exactly like it does on the front. Like, you really can't mess this one up. My favorite part about this stamp also is that it has all of the months already at the top. So you just use this one over and over again. You fill it out for the month that you want, and then you can take a pen or a highlighter and color in the month that it's for. It is so fantastic to use. I love using these on monthly overviews, and the stamp is so easy to use that you could even use it on a weekly basis if you wanted to, depending how you like to plan inside of your bullet journal and your planners. Midori has a lot of different versions of the stamp that you can buy. I have another one that just has a real quick note on it with a fountain pen and ink, which I absolutely love. Another thing to easily stamp on your page to have a call out for a note or a task or something you want to pay attention to. For all of my fountain pen ink lovers out there, you have to try this Dominant Industry ink muddler. It is fantastic. On one side, you have a rounded edge that helps you to do nice, really cool looking ink swatches. And then the other side is a glass dip pen. And as you can see, these little twirls or rungs on here hold onto the ink as you're writing with it with a really nice, beautiful fine point. I'll show you exactly how this works with our next stationery item, which is this really cool color changing ink from Monteverde, USA. This collection has so many different colors in it. You can really have so much fun. I have the red ink to yellow transition here. So let's go ahead and use our ink muddler, and we'll do a real quick swatch to get that ink out on the page. Once your ink is dry, now you can take a pen, a dip pen, whatever you'd like to use, you dip it into this clear fluid, and this is what's going to create that color changing reaction. You have so many different options on things that you can do with the color changing ink. You can use it as some headers and create some font color differentiation, or just use it organically on your page to create some cool patterns. This next stationery item is a must-have for the stamp lovers out there, whether you're using clear stamps or rubber stamps. This is the Crafter's Companion Stamp Cleaning Station. So what you do is you find stamp cleaner, whatever kind that you want. This one I have smells like bubblegum. It's actually quite nice, and you spray it onto the cleaning side of your pad. Now you can go ahead and use your stamps however you want, ink them up with any color that you'd like, and stamp them into your planners or into your bullet journals. Then when you're ready to clean them, all you have to do is rub your stamp where you sprayed that cleaning solution over top of that space. It does foam up just a little bit, but all of those little pieces get inside of the nook and crannies of your stamp. And then once it's nice and cleaned off with that ink, you can run it over the other side and give it a nice dry. Along with cleaning and drying your stamps, you can also clean the ink pad, especially over on the clean side that gets the inkiest. That actually comes out of the pad, which you can take and wash off with water and soap, and then you're good to go to clean another day. These next items are for the stationery pen lovers out there who don't want to venture into fountain pens yet. These are custom-made nib holders. Now this one, look how beautiful this is. This is from Papa J Woodworks himself. Luke, as well as Christina, his wife, design and make these at home, and I'm telling you, they are absolutely amazing. I love the way they look. One of my favorite other creators is Rivercity Pen Company. Rich has such an amazing collection of different types of pens, so many different variations. He works with other creators for the resin and the parts and this. He just does such a great job with them. I love the style of them. He even has these little mini ones as well. This one I actually grab very often. And the way that all of these different nib holders work is that the calligraphy nibs or the glass dip nibs or anything that you're using go right into the top of your pen. So there's no filling them with anything. They really are just beautiful dip pens that you can use different types of nibs with. I think my favorite thing about using dip pens with these nib holders is you can easily change them out, but it's also so incredibly easy to clean because all you're doing is just cleaning the nib. You're not worried about cleaning out a whole fountain pen. Really, it's just so versatile, and each one of these nib holders can really match your personality, or if you're purchasing them for someone else, match their personality too. The next item on the list is one that I'm completely and utterly obsessed with. This is the Sixxix die cutting machine. This is a little sidekick, but it works with all these small little metal die cuts. You can buy them from Sixxix, or I actually got a whole bunch of them off of Amazon. What's so cool about this die cutting machine is that you can create all of these shapes out of any type of paper that you want by running it through the machine. The way it works is pretty easy. You lay down your piece of paper on one of the cutting mats that you have here, then you put your die cut on there, and then you put another piece over top of it, and then you can now run it through the machine. I've been experimenting with these. They come in a bunch of different sizes. I found the small one to be really good for just those one-offs, but if you're trying to do larger projects or more than one die cut at a time, you might want to go for one of the bigger machines. Aside from just enjoying making these die cuts and using them with other stamps and things like that, I also have been trying to experiment and use them inside of my bullet journal as well. If you're looking for something small in size but still with that bullet journal edge, well then you definitely want to consider the Bullet Journal Pocket. This is a newer notebook that came out from Bullet Journal this year, and each one of these packages comes with 3 notebooks inside, and it's a really cool concept. Instead of it opening horizontally like a normal pocket notebook would, this one is intended to be used vertically. We already have pre-labeled pages for intentions and index. You also have your page numbers and these really cool smart grids for quickly laying out your pages horizontally and vertically, either splitting into halves or thirds. There are a whole lot of different ideas on how you can use the pocket notebook. As an example, I created a gaming notebook for Diablo for myself, and I just keep notes as I'm playing this game for different builds and cool gear that I need, whatever it is. It's been really awesome, and I like just having it as a pocket piece. I can put it on my notebook or in a drawer. It doesn't take up as much space as a notebook, but still has some of the really cool features that I come to appreciate from bullet journal products. All right, next item up on our list. I love this one so much. This is from Lochby, and this is called the Venture Pouch. Now, this pouch, it does everything I need it to do. I think that's why I love it so much. So this is a double-sided pouch. On one side of the pouch, if we unzip it, you'll see it has a bunch of cool pockets, a small divider on the inside. This is great for cords, SD cards, anything else that you feel like you might need to take along with you if you're traveling or maybe going into the office. And the reason I really love this is on the other side, you open it up. On the other side, you have 5 spaces in here to hold onto fountain pens, other type of writing instruments, or anything you need to fit into this pouch. It's not just for pens, but it most certainly works the best for them, at least in my experience. I got this one in navy, but it also comes in black and brown, and you can just fill this bad boy up with whatever you want. Some extra stamps, some extra stationery, some stuff that we talked about earlier in this video, or maybe soon to come, as well as your pens in the backside of this. It really is just the all-in-one pack, and I absolutely love it, and I love the look of it as well. You might not consider this next item stationery, but I consider any type of office supply stationery. My Dymo label maker is absolutely amazing, and I use it all of the time, and I think that you would as well. You just have to think of ideas to use it for. So I have a large stamp collection, so I actually have all of these small pockets, and I label each of them by the creator and the name of the stamp set for easy reference. I've also used these to organize my pens, all kinds of different organization around my office. And what I love is you can get the colors of these to be different too, so you can color coordinate or color label if you want to. You can get clear, you can get on white, all these different colors, red, green, blue, whatever you're looking for. It's super easy to use, and there are some advanced features of this with symbols and double lines and things like that, but once you get the hang of it, it is really fantastic. It has a bunch of different sizes that you can do, from small to extra large, icons, you name it, you can create it, and this is why this is one of my favorite stationery items. This next item is still considered office supply, but I'm calling it stationery again. This is one of my favorite timers from TickTime. And when I tell you how cool this is, it's because you don't have to really do a lot with it other than turn it on and then turn it onto its side. And as soon as you do, you'll see the numbers start to blink and it automatically starts your timer for you. And anytime you want to change that timer, you just have to flip it to the side that has the number that you want and it starts your countdown. I use this all the time in between meetings. If I'm like, okay, I have 20 minutes before my next meeting, I'll flip it to the 15-minute timer so I remind myself that I have something coming up. You can also use this for the Pomodoro method. Along with counting down, this bad boy also counts up. That's a cool feature. Flip it upside down and you'll see it blinking, but you can't see how much time is exactly passing just yet. So it's a little bit of a surprise. It's small, it's super versatile, it's magnetic on one side, so if you want to stick it to a metal bookcase or your desk somewhere, it works out. And the battery lasts forever. Just touch the two buttons to turn it off, or honestly, you could keep it on all the time and it'll last like 2 or 3 months. It's just that cool. Our next item is something that I think most people need on their desk, especially if you love beautiful inks, and especially if you love Ferris wheel press inks. These are the Carriages, and these come in all sorts of different colors. And not only are they very cool and fit into the Ferris wheel press theme, but they're also very functional. These Carriages work with the 38 milliliter bottles, and they hold onto them perfectly. And they look very cool on your shelf as they're standing up, but the functionality is you can actually tip it a little bit, because sometimes you need to tip the ink to get your dip pen inside of here, and it helps keep your ink safe so it's not spilling over on you. Sometimes I think I want one for each one of my inks, like a perfect little pair, but that's a lot of money. And reality is that you only really need one as you're using one ink at a time and using the Carriage to hold on to your ink, to write on paper, or to fill up a new fountain pen when you're using this ink. As much as I love buying fountain pens from fountain pen shows, this year some of my favorite buys from the DC Pen Show were these amazingly cool 3D printed pen holders and ink holders from Random Things. Keith sells these at these shows, and honestly, they are the coolest damn looking things in some of the rooms. And that's hard to say when you've got beautiful fountain pens all around you. He has so many different styles. I have a number of his items. One can be used just to hold onto your pen, to hold that horizontally. I've got this glow-in-the-dark skull that can hold on to your ink samples. And then I even got this pen holder. I love this because this can hold on the 5 pens vertically and 1 pen horizontally. Maybe that's the one that you're using that you don't want the ink to kind of dry out of. And what's also cool is that as you turn this, you got a really neat color shift. He has so many different sizes, styles, and 3D printed things, but the thing is you have to go and check him out at a pen show to get this. He doesn't sell any of this online. So next time you see a pen show coming to the area, make sure you see if Random Things is going to be there so you can grab some of this for yourself. But if you're not able to get to a pen show to grab one of these amazing cool holders, well, then you can buy them offline. This is my Octopus, and I like him because, first of all, he's very cool looking and he's very versatile. If I want, I can have him hold on to my fountain pens, either on his top little legs or his bottom little legs, but it also can be a phone holder if you want it to be. Anything you want him to do, he will do for you. He truly is your desktop buddy. And if you really want to put him to work, have him hold your phone and your pen, he'll do it. These next items are things that you've already seen, but we're not talking about the nib holders this time. Instead, we're talking about the Kakimori nibs. These were some of my very first dip pen nibs that weren't kind of that classic calligraphy style. And what I love about this brand is they pay attention to the details. They have everything from your classic calligraphy nib to glass nibs, and even these amazing dip pens here that come in stainless steel and brass. What I love about these so much is that you can get variances in your lines depending how you hold them. On the side of these pens are a small channel, and that's what's going to hold on to all of the ink. So as you're writing with it, you get the longevity of that because it's slowly feeding the nib of your pen. If you hold the pen upright, you're going to get a very nice thin line because it's just coming out of the point. But if you start to angle the pen a little bit more, you start to get those variances in line. You can even put the pen on its side and pull it across your page to get a nice thick line. This works wonderfully for handwriting, notes, things like that. But you can also use this pen to do artwork if you wanted to, just pen and ink artwork. And I love it so much because you don't have to switch pens to get different line widths. You just tilt your pen a little bit. As a completionist, I had to have every single one of these. The glass nib was really hard to get because they don't put them out all the time and they sell out quickly. But the brass or the stainless steel, honestly, hands down, some of my favorite nibs in my entire collection. The next item you should definitely check out are these Toyo steel stackable toolboxes. Tools can be anything. It doesn't just have to be hardware. It can be your pens, it can be your inks, it can be papers, it can be stickers. This one right now is holding on to extra papers for die cutting, but I got this one here from Esterbrook. They had a really cool collaboration, so it's branded with Esterbrook, but it's the Toyo toolbox. I use this all the time with my inks, especially if I'm moving around the house. I'll grab an ink or two, I'll grab one of my ink rags, some pens, some nibs, and take them wherever I need to around the house, and that way I'm not just walking around with a handful of stuff. It keeps it pretty protected, but I love using this for its functionality. Sometimes I use it just to store pens themselves. You really can do whatever you want. So think of a cool idea that you might have, and then definitely get these or a few so you can stack them up if you need to. The next items on the list are Sidio Crates. I use these for everything inside of my studio. I love that they come in different heights, different sizes, different colors, so many different accessories. I love customizing the nameplates that you can purchase as well. Put these on wheels, stack them up. It's great. And I love the inside organization more than anything. For instance, I use this one for organizing all of my clear stamps that I've gone through and labeled with the label maker we talked about earlier. I also use this to organize different type of studio equipment, camera equipment. I just sub-compartmentalize everything. I have this one here, for instance, for all the woodblock stamps. And we even have stamp carving here too. And having it all labeled helps me know that I have it and make sure that I'm using it as well. And the last item we're going to take a look at on our stationery list is one we've been looking at the whole entire time. This is my Blue Star Craft Notepad holder. It holds an A5 sheet of paper, pad, whatever you're looking for on here. It has a pen holder on the top, whether you're sticking it in and holding it up vertically or with this elastic band for it to hold horizontally. There's also a little secret compartment under here held on magnetically, so if you want to store extra paper or materials or pens, all of that can fit right inside of here. Changing out the paper is super easy. You just have to unscrew these bolts here at the top, and then you can slide in your new pad of paper. It also has some cool metal hardware at the top, and when I first got this, I really thought it was just going to look cool on my desk, but when I tell you that I have used this all the time, especially when trying out new inks and writing samples and swatches, it's just been my go-to, and honestly, one of the best stationery items that I've gotten in a while. It's hard sometimes to only pick 25 things. There's so much cool stationery stuff out there, and this is where you're gonna come in today. I would love to hear from you. Share your favorite stationery item that you have, whether it's a cool gadget, a cool pen, a cool notebook, whatever it might be, down in the comment section below. I'm always on the lookout for cool finds, and honestly, sometimes you've got the best eyes out there. I'll talk to you next time, friends. See ya.